This week on Maker Update, antique GPS, a burly chandelier, a neural network cyber pet, and a shaky little pocket plotter. Hey, I'm Donald Bell, and this is Maker Update, our weekly showcase of new and notable DIY projects and tips from across the internet. I hope you're doing well. We've got a great show for you. Let's get started with the project of the week. Last year on his channel, Adam Savage introduced us to an amazing, elaborate gift he had received from the team at Hardly Human Effects. It's essentially a GPS navigation system reimagined in an incredibly detailed steampunk style. It's also quite possibly the most inconvenient GPS system ever devised by man. You have to enter in your desired coordinates, latitude and longitude, using a rotary dial, and once it's locked in, you're essentially navigated by a motorized arrow under glass. When you hear a bell ring, an actual chromed metal bell at the top of the box, you'll know you've arrived at your destination. It's a wild project that's serious about being silly and is also kind of a love letter to antique hardware and materials. And now, as of last week, you can read through an Instructables guide on how it's made. The guide includes the code, the templates, list of materials, 3D files, everything you'd want, with tons of photos to show the process. My favorite part though is an explanation with photos of how they're able to adapt a standard numeric LED display to look like a vintage Nixie tube or almost kind of a vacuum fluorescent display. The technique uses a combination of metal mesh and vacuum-formed plastic paired up with a deliberate subtle flickering of the LEDs, and you have a convincing vintage analog effect. There are also some great tips in here about working with brass, getting it cut on demand, etching it with toner, and getting the etchings dark with an aging solution. You can find the full guide on Instructables using the link in the description. More projects from Becky Stern and Wood by Wright. Check out this wood slab chandelier controlled by WLED software. For her part, Becky handled the addition of LED strip, LED pendant lights, the microcontroller, code, and power supply. But one of the most ingenious aspects of this project, I think, is how Becky was able to create a 1:1 scale paper template of the lighting design based on measurements she was sent. She then laid out the project on this template, rolled it up, and shipped it out. This way, installing it was just a matter of gluing it down and connecting the pendant lights. You can find Becky's full guide and both videos on the DigiKey Maker.io post linked down in the description. For a small but fascinating project, check out this little 2-servo robot made by Britt Cruz on the Art of the Problem channel. It may not look like much compared to some of the DIY robots we feature here, but what makes this robot so unique is that it's essentially self-trained using AI, software simulation, and neural networks. This is a technique we've seen to hone the movement and stability of high-end, expensive robots from Boston Dynamics and Disney Research. Here, we get to explore this technique on a robot that costs less than $100. What's uncovered, surprisingly, is a challenge facing robotics at even the highest level: the lack of an analog to how animals possess a physical imagination, an ability to predict and adapt their bodies to anticipate near-term physics at a high resolution, like catching a ball. I think it's fascinating stuff and a glimpse at the kind of AI robot pet projects that are right around the corner. For a pocket-sized robot friend that's less brain and more muscle, check out this portable pen plotter bot by Dorian Todd. It's using the tiny but mighty Zhao ESP32 C6 board from Seed Studio, along with 3 servos and a 3D printed 5-bar linkage mechanism. The results are crude and shaky, but still super charming, especially given the size. The code and CAD files are available on his GitHub, which I've linked down in the description. Now for some tips and tools. We've got a new contest put together by Hackaday and DigiKey. This is the Frikkin Lasers contest, and as you might imagine, it's for projects that shoot frickin' lasers. Maybe you want to build your own laser, or maybe you want to create a laser light show or a laser projector, maybe a laser harp, or a homebrew laser etching machine. Lots of ways to go with this. Check out the link to learn more. Through the Adafruit blog, I learned about this online collection of printable coloring book drawings of open source hardware. The drawings were created by Severin Skulls of MakerVan Labs and include an Arduino Uno, the Eggbot, the MakerBot Cupcake 3D printer, Mitch Altman's TV Be Gone, and more. Even if you're not in the coloring mood, these SVG-based drawings could be used for other ideas. Maybe you want a laser-etched Arduino drawing to hang on the wall. Here you go. And finally, an upcoming tool worth knowing about. The team behind the Flipper Zero Hacker Multi-Tool have announced a new companion product called the Flipper One. They haven't released it yet, they're looking for developers, but the proposed design and features are very interesting, especially if you've got a thing for cyberdecks and hacker tools. For this week's DigiKey Spotlight, check out this interview with Andrew Kazour about his thermal tracking Arduino-based water cannon. The project is documented on the maker.io blog, which I'll also link to. It's an auto-firing turret using 2 stepper motors, a servo, a thermal sensor, and an Arduino Nano Every board. This recent interview, though, offers a great look into the design challenges and the construction of the project. Check it out. And that does it for this week's show. Be sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment if you can. A big thanks to DigiKey for making this show possible, and thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.